Most of us know that breastfeeding is good for our baby's brains, but a major new study in 2025 has found something that is genuinely surprising researchers. The effects of breastfeeding on your child's brain may not just stop in infancy. There may be a measurable effect on the structure of your child's brain at age 11 or 12. Let's look at it today. Welcome back. I'm Joanna. I'm a mum to a 2.5-year-old and an 11-month-old. It's just flying by. And basically I'm making a series where I'm just summing up some academic papers, data, various things on any sort of parenting topic that I think is interesting, things that are relevant to me. Personally, I'm not sending my children to nursery yet. I'm still tandem feeding 2 children. What else am I doing? Various like crunchy mum things. So yeah, I'm trying to make informed decisions. If you like the idea of this, please do hit subscribe. I'd love to have you join. Please do hit like and engage. It really does help boost my channel. So the study that I want to talk about today was published last year, May 2025, in the Pediatric Research, which is a journal by Spring and Nature. The study is called Sustained Breastfeeding Associations with Brain Structure and Cognition from Late Childhood to Early Adolescence, and it was led by researchers at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. It was data used by the Adult Brain and Cognitive Development Study, known as the ABC study, which is pretty good to remember that one, and it's one of the largest long-term investigations of brain development in children in the United States. The researchers followed 5,000 children from age 9 to 10 with a follow-up 2 years later when they were 11 to 12. What made this study a little bit more unusual was that rather than asking parents what their children were doing well in, they used MRI brain scans to measure actual physical brain structure, specifically cortical thickness, surface area, something called cortical myelin, across 148 different brain regions, and then they linked these measurements to how long each child had been breastfed as a baby. So what is cortical myelin and why does it matter? Before we jump to the results, let's explain what these brain measurements actually mean. Cortical thickness refers to the thickness of the outer layer of the brain, the grey matter. The greater the thickness in certain regions is associated with better cognitive development. The surface area is the total size of the brain's outer surface. The more surface area generally means that there's more space for neural connections, so we actually want more surface area here. The myelin is the fatty coating around the nerves that helps electrical signals to travel faster and move more efficiently. You kind of think of it like insulation on a wire. It's that like wire, the coating outside it. More myelin in key regions means more efficient brain communication. So let's talk about the results. The results found that breastfeeding duration was positively associated with cortical thickness in 31 brain regions, the surface area in 45 regions, and fluid cognition, and with greater cortical myelin in 4 regions, and with myelin increasing further at the 2-year follow-up. So basically, the longer the child breastfed, the higher all of these findings were. Crucially, the researchers found that the surface area appeared to mediate the link between breastfeeding and fluid cognition, meaning that the breastfeeding effect on thinking ability may work, at least in part, through its effect on brain structure in itself. The findings were statistically significant but modest in size, and the researchers noted that they should be interpreted with caution and given the observational nature of the study and the limitations, including recall bias. Because breastfeeding duration was reported by parents looking back rather than recorded prospectively. Children that were breastfed for more than 12 months showed the most pronounced structural differences compared to those who had never breastfed. There was also a dose-dependent pattern. The longer the breastfeeding, the more pronounced the association. So let's talk about confounding. This is where I want to be honest with you, because confounding is a problem in a lot of breastfeeding research and a lot of home ed research, literally like most of these things that I'm doing videos about on my channel. So let's just give it a little talk about. Studies like this consistently find associations between breastfeeding and brain outcomes. The challenge in isolating this comes from correlation and causation. Mothers who breastfeed longer are often, though not always, more highly educated, higher incomes, have more time at home. All of these things independently benefit a child's development. The researchers did control for some of these factors, but with observational data, you can never fully roll out something unmeasured then that's actually driving the result. So what's notable about this study is that it used MRI, which actually physically measured the brain structure rather than just test scores or parents' reports, which a lot of these things are. They're like self-reports, a lot of these things. So that is much harder to fake and it's harder to explain away with socioeconomic confounding alone. but it's also a very large sample as well. It's not a randomised trial, and so we should hold that in mind. So why does breastfeeding affect brain structure? The leading biological explanation involves what is in breast milk. Breast milk contains long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acids, including DHA and arachidonic acid. I'm probably mispronouncing that, so apologies. These are known to be essential for neural tissue development and myelination of these nerves. It also contains human milk oligosaccharides, which support the gut microbiome, which increasingly is understood to influence brain development through what's called the gut-brain axis. And the act of breastfeeding itself, from skin-to-skin contact, the hormonal response, the boost in oxytocin, these also play a role in neurological and neurobiological development. Let's talk about the parenting takeaway. If you breastfed for a shorter time or you couldn't breastfeed at all, don't take this as a cause for alarm. The effect sizes in this study were modest, and the brain development is influenced by hundreds of factors. Your relationship with your child, the presence that you give your child, the attention that you give them, the richness of the environment, reading together, play, sleep, nutrition, so many factors. No single factor determines your child's future. So if you can't breastfeed, there's so much more that you can be doing. And what this study adds is more evidence that extended breastfeeding, if that's possible for you, appears to have more biological benefits that may extend well beyond infancy itself. And that matters for public health policy and the support that breastfeeding mothers receive, which in the UK is still woefully inadequate. I mean, think about the amount of people that say they didn't get the support when they first latched a baby in hospital and therefore they couldn't breastfeed. And even when you say personally that I am breastfeeding a 2.5-year-old and an almost 1-year-old, people get a bit weird about that. And all I can say is that I feel like I'm doing the best for my kids. If you found this useful, please do hit like and subscribe. It really, really does help my channel. Please do let me know in the comments how long you breastfed for, what got in the way if you wanted to go longer. I love hearing your comments. It really does feel like I'm building a little community here, and I really love that. I really do like to hear your feedback. Please do hit subscribe. I'd love to have you join, and hopefully I'll see you for another video. See you later.